So guys, Buhari has just about 2 weeks to leave office. I mean, just 14 days for President Buhari to leave office. But do you know what? He's rooting for more loans. As in, Buhari wants to borrow more loans before leaving office. And one keeps wondering, is corruption embedded in politicians' gene? Just few weeks ago, our Attorney General was made to appear before the House of Representatives as a result of corruption allegation. And today again, he's in the news. I mean, the Ministry of the Attorney General is in the news again for a fresh corruption allegation. Nigerians, who did this to us? Who did this to us? Anyway, that's not the topic for today. We are here to discuss the CJN, the Election Tribunal, and other issues around the 2023 presidential election. We all know that in 2 days' time, Peter Obi will be in court again.
If you see me open my mouth and say to you that the sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria is either irredeemably corrupt or unbelievably incompetent, and I'm saying so with aplomb, full chest, and I know say there no born any one of them to challenge what I am saying. It is because the evidence of what I am saying is right there in the record of the court itself. They can't ask me to bring the proof. The proof is in their own record. Ariwola is irredeemably corrupt or unbelievably incompetent. And I say so on the strength of the case of Gbadamosi Eletu versus Akinloye.
Okay.
A case where the rest was never before any of the courts, whether the High Court, the Court of Appeal, or even the Supreme Court itself. The rest was not before it. The proper parties were not before it. And the court, so motu, on the urgings of one of the wizards of Nigerian law, Afe Babalola, made a pronouncement on land that was not in front of it. So please, the Nigerian judiciary is magical.
Fellow Nigerians, can we trust our judiciary? Can we really trust our judiciary? We all know that Peter Obi will be in court again on the 17th of this month, just in 2 days' time. The Election Tribunal will be sitting again. I want to personally use this opportunity to urge the Nigerian youths, please don't go and relax. Let's not allow a repetition of what happened during the election. We all know how we overtrusted the INEC chairman. We overbelieved in him, not knowing that they had a plan B. Nigerians, please don't go to sleep. Don't go and sit behind. Ensure you are following up with all the activities happening as the court sits again. We want to put our judges on their toes to do the right thing. And we know that we've got the power to do it. So guys, let me allow you watch this video in full. Just take your time and enjoy this video. This was an interactive session with Aisha Yusufu and our beloved lawyer, Mr. Dele. You are going to take your time to watch this video, and I know you are going to enjoy. There are so many values. There are so many values to gain in this video. Just take your time and watch this video, and I know you are going to love it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.
Impunity, the madness of Nigeria, everything that is wrong about Nigeria came together to produce this evil. So those who have any conscience in that country must of necessity forget the idiocy that has allowed them to subjectivize the truth to the point where they find reason not to support the truth. You cannot claim that it's not about the person of Gregory Peter Obi. It has nothing to do with his person. This is about principle. If there are still persons who are hiding behind their disagreements with his person, their objections to style, and they can find reason not to stand up for what they know to be the truth, shame on them. History will not remember Peter Obi's tribe. It wouldn't remember his religion. What it would most remember is the fact that all the aggrieved in Nigeria, the disadvantaged, the disinherited, those who have for long been pained by the way Nigeria has been, they came together, they found common purpose around one man as the arrowhead, not as the issue. It was just, Peter Obi is merely the arrowhead of a movement. That's all he is. We all came together for our various reasons, and we found common purpose in the issues that the man raised. Some of us raised those issues. Aisha, you raised some. I raised some. Other people raised some. But we all found common purposes, even where we had disagreements. That's politics. We chose what was offered as an electoral process. We staked our reputations behind a faith that the electoral process would be worthy of support. A law was passed. We stood behind that law. That man that is completely bereft of integrity or honor that you call Yakubu or whatever is the INEC fraudster. And I said that standing here, hoping and praying he will sue me, please. He's a fraudster. That man assured all of us and the entire world that we would have elections predicated on electronic transmission of results. Beavers, IREV, billions were voted. And then the man, look, let me just put it this way. I don't know by what, there were two choices when this happened. We could have gone on the street and started making noise, offered them the opportunity to kill as they had always killed, and then we would have all been talking about normalizing the situation. We'll be talking about peace. Those of us that they would have picked up, they would have picked up. Then they will be talking about free this and free that. Then we'll be talking inauguration. And then there would be normalcy, and Nigerians, as usual, would have moved on. But we knew that that was what they would have loved. See what we done. We did not cause any fight. See all of us, peace-loving. We stand for peace, but it is not at the expense of truth. Bola Tinubu did not win any election. There is no person known as Bola Tinubu. There is a chimera, somebody who is lying, some figment of somebody's imagination somewhere, who has named himself Bola Tinubu, around whom all the evil men in our country have coalesced. They are the ones who might believe that there is something they can win. They've won nothing. When the day comes, we'll see what will happen. A day never break. Maybe they say your president selects. I don't know what day they say they are doing whatever they are doing. Let the court tell us how this wuru to the answer will stand. It's always good now. Let the courts dance naked in the marketplace. You remember now? Sorry, say I just a talk go. You know, I don't bottle up too many things.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, bros.
Over 1 month. Look at it this way. When NSAS happened and they murdered all the people they murdered, and we came into the public space and spoke about how the system had massacred people. And they said we were lying. They said they were all lies. They even had people come into the public space to claim that we were lying. And then they set up the panel and we followed them to the panel. Each and every member of the panel was nominated by the government. Each and every one of them. Nigerians like me and you, with each and every one of our many peccadillos. It included a retired DIG. A retired judge, sat at the head of that panel. I believe 2 of the members of that panel have gone on to become judges in Lagos State today. So these were average Nigerians like me and you, with all of the many peccadillos of the Nigerians. But they sat together and they came to a unanimous decision because the evidence that were placed in the public domain and before the courts were way too weighty to be discounted. This is more or less the same situation on a bigger scale. We are back before a system that we do not necessarily trust. I am a member of Ramimba. Before we went to the tribunal, we were against the tribunal. We stood outside the tribunal carrying banner, protesting against the tribunal. And then we decided, you know what? Let's use their tribunal to unmask them in the public space. So we went before the tribunal and we brought evidence into the public space that the government would have preferred were not placed in the public space and that would never have found its way into the public space if we had abandoned that process. We were not going before the tribunal in any hope of justice, but we were determined to use the system to unrobe the Nigerian state. So we used the system. Because we went before the tribunal, we could show all the evidence we had, and the public could also see it. And at the end of the process, unanimous, not one dissenting vote, the tribunal voted that as a fact, there was a massacre. As a fact, the Lagos state government can say anything it cares to say. That's political. I don't expect Jide Sanwo-Olu to come out and say, yes, I facilitated a massacre. I don't expect the Nigerian army to say, yes, we were the murderers. But the tribunal, made up of men and women, nominated by the government, only nominated by the government, found that there was one. So I would say that the situation we are in now, why it's not exactly the same, is analogous to it. Because now, we're before a tribunal. I do not have any trust whatsoever, and I repeat myself, let me not be ambiguous. I have zero trust in the Nigerian judiciary. I believe that judiciary is essentially a brothel. It is no different from a brothel. I believe that our CJN is either completely corrupt or irredeemably incompetent. Those are my beliefs. I have said this before, over a year ago, before Peter Obi or his election came to be, before anybody would start talking about the politicization of my comment. It has nothing to do with Peter Obi's comments. If anybody has the time, let them go to my Arise interview in June last year, when he was appointed the acting CJN. I was categorical in remarking that the man is either incredibly incompetent or unbelievably corrupt. And I stated the basis of my belief. So let's be clear. I am not saying what I am saying out of any faith in the judiciary. And I'm not suggesting that we are going before the judiciary in the hope that the judiciary might present anything other than what it has always done. After all, the same judiciary produced the ruling in Machina. The same judiciary produced his ridiculous ruling in the case of Akpabio. The same judiciary produced the horrible ruling that we saw in Imo State. So I'm not sitting down here selling anybody any pipe dreams of a judiciary that is either incorruptible or that produces justice. But that process serves to educate our people about what we are up against. There is a clear line that has been drawn. This is a battle between good and evil. It is a battle between whether Nigeria is going to go into the future or whether it is locked into a cycle of self-destruction. Because I cannot for the life of me understand how any country that is desirous of going into the future can be yoked to the career criminal that they have produced as president-elect against the expressed will of the people. If he had won an election, that would be different. If he had won an election, it would simply mean that that is the ugliness and beauty of democracy. We would have had to accept it. But Bola Tinubu, whatever his true name might be, did not win any election. He is attempting to steal one. And it is the duty of everybody who has a conscience and who is truly, truly desirous of a Nigeria worthy of being bequeathed to our children. We have a duty to oppose this.
My very own brother, I could listen to you for ages and just not even say anything because I'm just nodding. I'm like, you're speaking my mind. You're just speaking.
I've been quiet for a while. So
yes. Even when I asked you to do this, you say you did give your reasons why and I'm so glad that you are here, because it's like when you keep saying the same thing again to people, they're coming, they begin to feel, oh, okay, what's this person trying to say? But hearing you also reinforce that, I hope a lot of people will see more of that. Like you rightly said, protest was not the way to go. Protest was what they had already planned and were waiting for what to do with. And they would have brought in everything. First of all, bring in violence, just like they did NSAS. They will be the one perpetuating the violence. But
then they will say it's us.
Yes. And then when they do that, the state will now have legitimacy to bring in arms to protect the state, to bring in the security agents, and they will kill people. And after that, people will be saying, since people have died so many times, so say this, let's leave that one. Let's just continue with governance. That's what they were all planned for. And the fact that people did not do that rattled them. That's one thing I always continuously want people to understand. That rattled them.
That's why we are fascists.
And they are all sorts of names, and
Yeah, look, Aisha, the true idiot is the person who does not learn from history. That's the true idiot. I am blessed to have lived a full cycle. I've been here before. I was here in 1993. That's where we're back in 1993. In the immediate aftermath of the election, I remember making this point. But a lot of people didn't hear me because they were emotional, and also because a lot of us have learned to subjectify the truth. Because it is Mr. A, it is no longer true. But when it is Mr. B, it becomes true. I have seen some of my dear friends who have celebrated the electoral theft by Tinubu, not necessarily because they love Tinubu, but because they have taught themselves to hate Peter Obi, and they imagine that it is Peter Obi's loss. They conveniently ignore the fact that it is our collective loss. If Peter Obi becomes the standard by which you tell the truth, if his involvement shades the truth for you, if it makes the truth less true, then you should look at yourself, not at the man. But what you're seeing today is a situation where, because we have lived these cycles, we can recognize where we are at. In 1993, by this time, they had turned Abiola's mandate into a Yoruba mandate. They had begun the process. And that was exactly what Tinubu and his cohorts have attempted to do. They've attempted to make the Peter Obi mandate an Igbo mandate, a Christian mandate. It's always been their case. They always find how to reduce popular mandates to narrow lines, so that they might then talk about it as though it was not national in nature and it was only sectional. So that's what they've labored very hard to do with Peter Obi. The most obvious of the lies was to have attempted to target an Igbo mandate, conveniently forgetting that the same man won. I'm saying so full chest. He won in Nasarawa, he won in Taraba, he won in Plateau, he won in Benue. Are you getting me? He won significant votes in places where they would once upon a time have merely said the North voted this way, or the North this, the North that, subsuming human beings behind ethnic tags. But for once, Nigerians came together as one, and as they did in 1993, they are attempting to do now, divide the people along lines so that they might legitimize what they have stolen. But unfortunately for them, and fortunately for us, we have seen it before. It's not going to work this time around. We are not playing that ethnic game, and it's not about religion. They wanted it to be about religion from day one. Muslim ticket. The same people who wanted everything to be about religion are the ones turning around accusing others of religiosity. The same people who wanted it to be about ethnicity are the same ones turning around branding it an ethnic. So when you've seen these cycles, you would understand very quickly that in reality, Peter Obi is Abiola in this cycle. Tinubu is Abacha. And that's dotted in Aso Rock that you call Buhari. That's Babangida, lame duck, complicit in evil, incapable of delivering on the promises of a nation. That's what you are saying. So we've seen this cycle before. We will not tire of telling the truth. If it means going into another cycle as we did in 93, we will. But the one thing that is clear, Nigeria cannot call itself a democracy and enthrone an electoral criminal as its president. It's not possible. This judicial system would have to decide whether it is truly the last hope of the poor man or whether it is part and parcel of the evil that Nigeria has been governed by for decades. It didn't begin with Buhari. It's always been there. But this is the most brazen it has ever been. And it will be entirely up to us to reject this or embrace it. You can count on me to reject this. This is not happening. It's not happening with my consent. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. If I'm the only person standing saying it won't happen, so be it. At least this people will record there was an insane one amongst them. Yes, there was an insane one.
It's better to be insane than to believe in corruption and feel that one is hopeless and continue.
Me and I know they call waiting they do us corruption. Our case not be corruption. Me and I know they call and corruption.
What we go call them? What we go call them?
You are either going to, and I'm serious about this. When you can only speak in terms of corruption when there are cause and effect, when there are consequences to the deed that you are calling corrupt.
Okay.
When there are consequences, then that's corruption, because if the person is caught, something will happen to them. But I will remind you that the man that is your president-elect is a career criminal. So if that was a country where consequences happen,
in jail,
you will not have a career criminal stealing the presidency, having corrupted every institution because they were already corrupted. So it merely facilitates. So, see, our case is not corruption. It is the reign of impunity. Impunity. If Ekweremadu had done what he did in Nigeria, what would have happened to him?
They'll be abusing the people that are even asking for justice for the...
Some people are already abusing those who think that Ekweremadu is deserving of his punishment.
Yeah,
and it's not just the government, it's the people themselves. So don't call it corruption. Our case is that we've become perverse, completely perverse. Once there is no purpose to genius, it becomes perverse. That's what we've become, perverse. Impunity governs us. Perversion have become our way. It is now that we need to decide whether it's full-blown or whether it's reversible.
And we will, as citizens, we will reverse that. Thank you so much. I think I will go early on because I see a lot of people who are asking questions. I will open the floor. Please put up your hands if you want to ask questions. And also from those on YouTube, kindly write down your questions. So we'll be reading them out here. Before we take on those questions, it's to say there's something that you said, and it's before you had come on, I had said a little bit of that, which is on the issue of trust, because a lot of people are saying, do you trust the judiciary? Do we? Our business is not to trust the judiciary. It's not, I say it's not a love affair. I'm not in the business of, I'm not looking for somebody I want to be romantically inclined with, so I'm looking to trust whether, no, our business is to force them to do the right thing, overwhelm them with the evidence that they cannot look away from. Because if you don't participate in the process, because I see a lot of people who feel, oh, why are we even participating in this process? If you don't participate in the process, you legalize the criminality that they always do. And that's what they did with the election. They pushed a lot of people away from politics, from participating in the electoral process. We say, oh, there's nothing that will come out of there. And then it's very easy for them. If citizens had not participated in the 2023 election, this guy would have just walked in with the few people that they are able to buy their votes, and they say they won. But when citizens decided to participate, what happened? They are now running helter-skelter, stealing and not stealing very well. So they didn't even have the time to be able to cover their tracks. They stole and they left the whole track. That's why you see there's gloom in the nation. Even the people who have been said to have won, they have been selected, they are not even celebrating, because they know say they left a lot of evidence behind that. So for us, put that, our business is not entrusting the judiciary. Our business is forcing the judiciary to do the needful, to actually emancipate itself. This is the time the people are now focused on the judiciary. Because normally during election petition, we don't care. There is politicians that just do their thing. This time, Nigerians are caring, because that person that spent time at the polling unit, whose result was changed, and they go to IREF, they saw what they counted is different from what is on the IREF. They are also the part of those that are the election petition is all about. So please, for those of us who still have that notion that, oh, because the judiciary has been this way before, let's not, we shouldn't be going that way. Let's just forget that. Let's focus on the judiciary and ensure that it does the needful. Thank you so much, bros. So anyone with a hand up, I'm trying to see. Also, Dudu, if you can hear me, help me check whether there are questions. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, one man says, yeah, so that's it. I can't see hands up. If you want to speak, kindly put up your hands. If you don't put up your hands, I wouldn't know who to call in. I'm seeing a hand from Lawrence. Okay, Lawrence, unmute yourself and go on, please. And normally, like we have it on this program, let me explain to the messages I see here. We normally allow the guest speak for have an interaction for like an hour, then we open it up to those questions coming in. But right now, everybody wants to get you. So Lawrence, you're first. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I just wanted to thank both of you and thank the honorable distinguished lawyer.
Just call her Andele.
Dele, I just love the fact that you are speaking again. I love people who speak fact, not emotion. And I love everything you lay down today. And that's the way, and the joy that comes to me is the fact that you say you are hopeful, because it's all about hope. The thing I want to ask you, the strategy that I have in my head is that we know the people who are going to be in the panel. Is it okay for us to be able to publish their names, their faces, who they are, so that Nigerian people, those who might not be watching, they will follow suit? Because this is as we say in America, Super Bowl. This is the final. There is no tomorrow unless we go to another election. So whatever tactics we can use now to pressure them to the highest maximum of pressure, to show those judges that we are after them if they don't do right. Is it okay?
Let me quickly say this. The judicial oath taken by any public officer who is to sit in judgment over fellow men is sufficient basis for any man of honor or woman of honor to be pressured into doing the right thing. I concede that that has not always been the case in Nigeria. And in fact, in over 90% of our cases, what you find is that the judex is unfortunately hopelessly compromised. However, it is not for anyone to say what the panel may or may not do. That is left for them, their consciences, and to God. I don't need any justice to tell me what took place on the 25th of February. Or is it 18th of February? I'm now ability to 25th of February.
It's 25th.
Yeah,
March is the 18th.
I do not require any justice to tell me what transpired. Not only was I a participant, I was also in a war room looking at the figures as they were coming in from all over the country. So I know what transpired. So it is up to the justices to decide whether they want to be on the path of truth or in the service of evil. That is completely up to them. That is one. Second thing is that as it relates to publishing the names of judicial officers, their names are already in the public space. It is up to the Nigerian media or individuals who might be interested in their biographies to research them. They are matters of public interest. These are persons who are going to, after all, be determining the fate of a country, if the truth be told. Yeah. The trajectory of Nigeria for the foreseeable future is going to be determined, fortunately or unfortunately, by this panel. Yes. So for me, I don't think anything is to be gained. In fact, we have to be very careful not to be seen as bullying the justices. However, their names are already in the public space. These are not matters. This is a matter of public interest, and it's entirely up to individuals to determine how much of their biodata they want to put in the public space. As long as they are not invading privacy, you cannot, if you're a justice of the court and you've been asked to sit on the presidential election tribunal, they already know that you're a public figure. So that's as far as that goes. But we must be careful to respect rules in relation to privacy. Publishing phone numbers, for instance, will not cut it. I also wouldn't think it's right to publish their home addresses or anything, but it is about that. Who is this man? What kind of person? Where did this school? Those are normal matter of public interest. So that's as far as that goes.
Thank you so much for that. Joseph, you'll be coming on next. So get ready to unmute yourself. Joseph, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, Aisha and
hello,
Mr. Dele. So my name is Joseph. I'm joining from Manchester, United Kingdom here. I'm also a lawyer, trained in Nigeria. Mine is more of a comment rather than a question. I think the whole mess we are in today is basically caused by INEC. Obviously, their own laws, their own regulations were not followed. And then number two, I think there's really need to look at the constitution, because I think one of the main issues we're trying to bring up is the fact that the president-elect will most likely be inaugurated by the 29th or 25th of May. I haven't forgot the date.
Actually, that thing is a misunderstanding of the constitution. Yeah. It is actually not so. Under the constitution, the reality is that if there are contestations in relation to the swearing in of this president, the incumbent would sit. I don't know, there are conflicting arguments in relation to this because it's never been tested. But I think the constitution is actually fairly clear on the subject. The incumbent will sit until the resolution. That is, I will take my time to research the law, but I know that there are conflicting positions of law on this. It's not automatic that Tinubu or anyone else might be sworn in on the 29th.
Yeah, well, I think that is if a winner has not been declared. But if the electoral body has declared a winner, if you look at what has happened over the years, for every election, they've always contested it, both at state level and presidential level. But at the end of the day, they end up going on with the inauguration. Like for instance, that what happened in Anambra State, in Peter Obi's case in Anambra State. He's still in court for, he contested the results,
Yes.
right? Went to tribunal, yep. So, but he had to stay in court for 3.5 years or something like that before he was eventually declared the winner. So, going by the practice we've seen in Nigeria, unless something else happens, that is most likely going to happen. But we have hope because for me, I think you don't even need to. You don't even need any high sense of intelligence to detect that the election was a complete fraud. It was a complete fraud. If you go, I did my best. I looked at some of the results. Somebody called my attention because I'm part of a support group, support group, a support group in diaspora. We looked at some of the results in Rivers State, and because first of all, when they declared that ATC won in Rivers, I was wondering how is that possible? What kind of magic did they perform? And then I went and looked at, you see mutilation. This is what we call daytime robbery. They didn't even cheat with some level of dignity. You know, I mean,
this is brazen. This is brazen.
No.
It's brazen.
No. I agree with you, yes. So it's quite an unfortunate one. And I think we have enough evidence to nail this. As for the justices of the Court of Appeal that will sit on the Presidential Tribunal, yes, the Judiciary, to a large extent, you can compromise the Judiciary, but sometimes when the evidence is too overwhelming, you tie their hands with evidence. You can actually tie the hands of these justices with evidence because it will be foolish of them. There are certain decisions you're going to arrive at. Some of those cases we see where we probably not happy with the decision. Sometimes it is the angle from which the lawyers bring the argument because sometimes you cannot give to a litigant what was not asked for. I'm not saying all. I said
you
some
have
of
not
them.
come to the Nigerian Supreme Court. If you have, let me hold on, my brother. Hold on.
Okay.
If you see me open my mouth and say to you that the sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria is either irredeemably corrupt or unbelievably incompetent, and I'm saying so with aplomb, full chest, and I know say there are no born any one of them to challenge what I am saying. It is because the evidence of what I am saying is right there in the record of the court itself. They can't ask me to bring the proof. The proof is in their own record. Ariwola is irredeemably corrupt or unbelievably incompetent. And I say so on the strength of the case of Gbadamosi Eletu versus Akinloye.
Okay.
A case where the rest was never before any of the courts, whether the High Court, the Court of Appeal, or even the Supreme Court itself. The rest was not before it. The proper parties were not before it. And the court, so motu, on the urgings of one of the wizards of Nigerian law, Afe Babalola, made a pronouncement on land that was not in front of it. So please, the Nigerian judiciary is magical. It can do and undo. It is no different from the Nigerian police. I say so full throat, full tested. And I'm saying so on the strength and evidence that is in the court's own file. So there is nothing the Nigerian judiciary cannot do. The CJN sat on the second panel of that same court, and he turned himself into a mathematician, cartographer, and surveyor. And he was dividing and subtracting without a survey ever placed before any of the lower courts.
Wow.
Yes, wow.
I think I'll look for that case and read it.
If you read, the actual report, it will reflect what they want you to hear. Go and read the file.
Thank you, Joseph. I think thank you so much for your contribution. And there's so many hands that are up here. So I'll move on to the next one. Before we go to hands, of course, the questions are from YouTube. Mr. Felix Deepo is asking, what is your take on live streaming, and is this something that the tribunal will grant? The request, is this something that the tribunal will grant?
Frankly speaking, there is no precedence in Nigerian legal history. As far as I can remember, I'm not exactly an authority. You would have to ask the legal eagles, especially those still in practice. As far as I can recall, the only time any proceeding of the like was ever transmitted was the NSAS panel, and that was a quasi-judicial panel, and its own processes and rules were much more relaxed, and it was, well, so that was a different ball game. This is without prejudice to what I would have preferred, which would be to see the proceeding transmitted real time so that we can all watch. But I'm not hopeful that you'll see anything of the sort. It's just not in our legal history to do that. I would not consider it something the judges would have done or the justices would have done in denial of any right, because it's simply not something we've done before in our legal history, as far as I can tell.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Onayemi, go ahead and unmute yourself and give us your question. Please keep it as succinct as possible because we have quite a number of hands. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Aisha. Dele, thanks very much for coming on the program. Before you came in, I asked a question, and maybe I would love to repeat that question and make a brief comment as well. We are in an uncharted territory. We know that we've seen this done at the state government level, but never at the national level, as you will see it is sworn in president. So it's an uncharted territory. And you yourself, as you have alluded to the fact that the judiciary are kind of irremediably corrupt. And if we don't have much confidence in them, then what are we doing before them? But let me ask you the question. Is there any room for getting an injunction, interim injunction from stopping the swearing within the law? That's question one. Is there any rule for that? Is there anything we can do maybe to get interlocutory injunction to stop this?
You have said that. Oh, yeah, continue around also that comments.
And number two, what is the next way forward? Let's say things went the way we all had hoped for the worst. And against all overwhelming evidences, these justices came out, voted 3 against 2, and they will never tell you who voted for what. So we don't know who to address. So what is the way forward?
Okay.
Thank you.
Number one, in speaking to the NSAS panel, I did allude to why we're before the judiciary today. I'm a Yoruba man. In my tradition, we have a proverb. It says, "Ẹjọ́ là ń kọ́, bàbá ẹnìkan ò kì í kọjá." That means that you should first learn how to state your case. Make your case before you learn how to fight. So that by the time you are done fighting, when they ask you, so what happened? You would have a narrative that explains why you did what you did. So we've gone to court. And because of the question you asked, which came later, I'll tell you how we came about go to court. Immediately they stole the election. The first word that came out of their mouth, which has become the mantra of fascists, go to court. So when they said go to court, of course, in the immediate aftermath of the electoral theft, we had a meeting where we sat down and we agreed that, look, these people, they are deployed military forces across the country, particularly in the South, during the election. Some people mistook it for election security postings, but some of us said as far back as before the election that no, they are positioning this troop for the aftermath of election. So we knew that they were waiting for us to come and protest. So because we knew they were waiting for us to come and protest, we did not. So we took a decision to follow the judicial path. Not because we had ever given up the right of protest, because that is the inalienable right of anyone. Hold on, Dele, please now. That is the inalienable right of anyone that is aggrieved. But if the process has shown you that if you are aggrieved, go to court, and you've now gone to court, the court that you have gone to offers you two opportunities that you must never miss. One, you make your case before the court, but you also make your case in the court of public opinion. The people were not unaware of the fact that you won. The knowledge of the fact that Obi won is what is driving the hatred of the APC and Tinubu. That's why they've continued to attack him, because they need to diminish him in the sight of the public, because they know the true result. They know that he won. So we are going to court essentially to establish what we know to be the truth, what they know to be the truth. When I say they, I'm saying both the APC and even the PDP. Commonly, that political family that has ruined Nigeria all these years know what transpired on the 25th of February. So we are taking those facts before the court. We are not going there to prove to ourselves. We already know the truth, but we want to establish that truth, which are now to be established as facts before a court of law. We've taken that before the court of law. This is not about whether we trust the court or not. I have stated clearly, I do not. But we've taken this before them, and as we are establishing these facts before the court, the public, who are being assailed every day by Tinubu's propaganda machine, that Obi never had a path to victory, they are also getting to share these facts. The fact that INEC is irredeemably corrupt, did not follow the rules, deliberately truncated the process, this will be established before the court. And the Nigerian public will also see it. By the time we are done, whatever the court cares to say is up to the court. The court might decide that it is not really a court of justice. It might decide that, okay, it is an opportunity to redeem the Nigerian judiciary. That is the exclusive preserve of the court. I am not in control of what the court will do. I am only in control of what I will do. So I have gone to the court as prescribed by the law. Whether the court now elects to do his own part or not is left to the court. That's to answer your first question. Now, the second part of the question, any interim injunction? Put it this way. I retired from being a lawyer 5 years ago. The Electoral Act of 2022 is a piece of legislation I have never bothered to study in depth. I would not want to offer an opinion that I cannot stand behind. I don't know exactly what reliefs it might afford Mr. Peter Obi or any other aggrieved person, but I seriously doubt that an interim injunction of this nature would be given the issue at stake, because the reluctance of the Nigerian judiciary when it comes to granting interim injunction are actually tied one to one. One, if you grant an interim injunction, in most cases you would have determined the substantive suit. That's their usual argument. But that's also tied to the corruption that has riddled our judiciary. When you are corrupt, you are naturally careful about being suspected of doing something that you should not have done. So when you are meant to grant an interim injunction to prevent a harm being done, you hide behind the legalese of I would have determined the substantive suit. So let's just handle the substantive suit and then we take it at pace so that it be handled quickly. So that is as far as that is concerned. So in relation to those two, that is what I can tell you. I don't know what the provisions are, but I seriously doubt that it will be availed.
Thank you so much. As we have hands on, we have Pastor Osas, Pastor Solomon.
Oh, sorry, there is one part of that question there is one part of the question. Let me just quickly answer it. You kept asking, what would we do if the judiciary does as it usually wants to do, which is to do the exact opposite of what it ought to do? Let me say this. If it is a movement, it means that you can only provide leadership. You cannot dictate. It is not for Dele Farotimi to say what a movement would do. I know what I would prefer. But when we come to that bridge, we'll cross it. We are not there yet. Let the judiciary do its job or fail to do it, and then we'll come to that bridge.
Thank you so much. So before I go on, there's a message from Apuru Jonathan Ilya. He says, kindly tell Oga and boss, Professor Dele Farotimi, that I love listening to him. I'm currently in Asia, but I constantly listen anytime I find him on screen or I search out his words on YouTube to listen to. So that's from Apuru Jonathan Ilya.
I'll not be prof.
That is his own. He has said his own. Thank you. But there's also an interesting conversation that has been going on the chat, and I just want to let me spotlight myself here so that I can okay, because I want to really my face be there when I'm saying this. So quite an interesting conversation that has been going on the chat. So there's one man, something who initially, I think I did mention his name, had wanted us to get to the guest and everything. So we have a process that we do here. I'll get to the viewers asking questions. So the process is we first of all allow the guest to speak for about an hour thereabout, then we have questions coming in. And so the interesting thing I want to point out here is where he said, he talks about the fact that he believes that Tinubu won the election, which is perfectly okay. It's his opinion that everyone has a right to. And I've given the names because when you raise up your hand, it has to follow a process, and everybody's is called upon based upon the time they raised up their hands. And what I find so interesting here is where he said, but it might not get to my turn before I have to leave. So this is the thing, because most people do not understand the importance of process, and they are always used to that way of corruptly trying to overtake a process or get it done in one way or the other. We have normalized it. If you're leaving, that's on you that you want to leave without waiting for it to get to your turn, without waiting for it for your own opinion to be heard. If you believe so much in your opinion and you want your opinion to be heard, then you need to wait through the process. And the process right now is that there are people that are before you and you have to wait through it. So there's no way we're going to jump anyone because you have to leave before it's time. So I just want to add this on. Wait on. We have two people before you. When they're done, it will get to your turn and you will be able to air your opinion. Thank you so much for that. Pass Osas, it's now your turn. Please kindly also make it succinct because we have quite a number of people who also want to speak, and we have some questions coming in also from YouTube. So thank you so much. Go ahead. Can you also put on your video so that we can have you spotlighted?
You remember I told you? Can you hear me?
Okay. You're unable to. Okay, go ahead then.
Yeah, because I'm at work. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, lawyer. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you, Aisha. And, whenever I listen to the lawyer on Rise TV, I'm always looking forward to listen to him because he talks very smartly and intelligently. Then there's something I'd like to say here in regards to the election. You see, INEC shot itself on the foot. Number one, INEC said that the beavers or whatever was shut down somehow, that it was not functioning, and that the servers were shut down or the servers were not working. You see,
yeah, can you get to the question or the point you need to make? Because there are quite a number of people, please. So that let's keep it succinct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My kind of, it's not really a question, just a little short, just to.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay. Now, I really do want everyone to understand that the whole world is currently going through a reset, and Nigeria is not exempted from it. And this actually affords Nigeria people the opportunity to do things right, because every other country, they are going through their own problems and they're trying to solve it, and it's an opportunity for every country to also solve their problems. So this happened if INEC has messed up and then they've destroyed the process and everything. Is an opportunity for the Nigeria people to kind of like reset their system, and then we go. I'm not for Obi, I'm not for Peter, I'm not for, well, I'm just a concerned Nigerian who really want things to work for my country, for my people, and then because I'm a part of it, and I want everything to be all right. And then believe me, I think that I don't think there's going to be swearing in, and if that happens, and I'm talking as who I am, and if that happens, I know something may also happen, and then the Nigerian people should also be ready to take their country, because it's not just about Nigeria. If you look at the settings currently going around the whole world, so if you look closely, you understand that the whole country, the whole world is going through a reset, and this is an opportunity for the Nigeria people to also, reset their system. Failure to do that, then they'll live with it forever. But it's not going to happen. We're watching, and we're right here. God bless you. Thank you, the lawyer. Thank you, Aisha. I appreciate you for hosting this program, and every panelist. God bless you.
Okay, so Bros, before you go on, let me just answer this thing. Is that a bit of that before you answer the question, to say that I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we can get this. I don't think we can get that. That's where they want you to be. You understand? The worst thing, when they say the greatest weapon, let me remove my glasses. The greatest weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. First of all, they want you to believe that you are hopeless, you can't do anything. When you get you to that stage, then they have the room to do whatever they need to do. When you spoke initially, that was where I talked about the fact I gave us an illustration with what happened during the election. If we had believed that nothing can happen out of election and we refuse to participate in the process, then we won't even be here where we know that somebody else won rather than the person that was declared. But because we said, okay, in spite of what they want us to believe, which was an illusion, they don't have that power. For years, we kept saying that Tinubu does not own Lagos. It's an illusion. What they do, they tell you that your votes don't count. Even when we say to people, if votes don't count, why are politicians buying votes? When they tell you your votes don't count, the people whose votes cannot be bought do not participate in the process. And so it now allows only the people whose wealth, their poverty has been weaponized, their literacy has been weaponized, religion has been weaponized and used against them. They are now the ones who participate, and they can easily be bought. You saw what happened. Even with all the rigging, a lot of rigging went on in Lagos State on February 25th, 2023. What they could do was to reduce the numbers of Peter Obi, shore up their numbers, get the 25% that they didn't even get in Lagos State, and be able to put it out there. So one thing we must never do is to give people the room and the illusion that they are more powerful than they really are. They aren't. And we must continue to follow the system. Whatever happens, as long as you do not stay on and follow the process, what then happens is that you automatically shut yourself out. And let's not forget, with 10 months participation in election, a lot of citizens that have never heeded to participated in the electoral process in Nigeria, participated in the last electoral process. Within 10 months, see the gains that were made, see the people that were brought in, see the number of people that have gotten into the National Assembly, state houses of assembly, and all of that. And so these are the things we must never forget. We must always remember the power that we have. If you can do this in 10 months, imagine what will happen when you do it in the next 4 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 5 decades. Then we will not have people who are corrupt continue to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges. When we do not participate, we already self-defeat ourselves. We cannot allow that to happen. I just needed to also hear, because a lot of people keep repeating this thing. I keep getting people emails, even messages say, oh, the fact that we did not protest on February 27th and 28th, we shot ourselves in the foot. We did not do anything. And quite frankly, sometimes these are people who are not even going to be on the streets. Somebody sent me an email. I think he lives, is he in UK or Germany? And he's telling me how the fact that we did not go on the street, we lost it. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, Oga, you there for UK or being a Europe. You know what can't do the protest. You they ask people, make the call. If you want to do something, be out there. And there are people who actually went out to protest. Nobody stopped anybody from doing that. But what we are saying on this, we have to be strategic. These are criminals. These are people who their life is a criminality. So you don't fight them by being emotional. You don't fight them by just jumping on the street. You fight them by strategy. And that's what we've been doing. And that's why even up till now, they're still afraid to celebrate their wins. Thank you so much. Bros, over to you.
The gentleman really didn't ask any question, but there is something that has been thrown up by what you have said. I think I understand the basis of their, should I call it despair? I understand the basis. And if you really think about it, they are thinking that we've exhausted our options as it relates to righting the wrong of the electoral theft. But what they don't understand is that, at least for someone like me, I see this as merely the beginning of a new stage. A stage ended on the 27th, I think, when that fraudulent Yakubu announced his result. That was a stage ending. Another stage was engaged when we went to court. Another stage would start. Now we are in court. Another stage will start when that ends. I think our people should learn to understand that there are processes to everything. Even protests have processes. But protests are useless in a place like Nigeria. You don't protest to the death. You lock yourself into your own cycle where you know that these are what you would do when the system might have done this. When I heard Mr. Peter Obi speaking after the election, each time I've heard him speak after the election, I've listened to hear if there was any relenting on his part, or if he was prepared to do the kind of deals that men of power in Nigeria want to do when they have been cheated out of power. But every time I've looked at the man's antecedent, every time I have listened to what he has had to say, I have seen a man who is determined and who understands what it would take to change Nigeria. So those who are despairing, they ought to be encouraged and told that there is really nothing to despair over. The arrowhead of the movement is resolved. Those of us who are also working in tandem with him, we're clear about what needs to be done. It is not for us to force any issue. It is for the system to decide whether it is happy to dance naked in the street, because we will do our best to make sure that it is stripped naked. So if he wants to dance in the marketplace, so be it. So let people stop despairing and wasting their time. It's going to be a long battle. It will be long. It's not a sprint. It will be a marathon. But we must be prepared for it.
Absolutely. That was what I was just waiting to add. It's going to be a marathon. It's not.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Don't despair. Be happy. We did an amazing thing. We did the impossible. You did the impossible. What they said cannot be done. You understand? You did it. You came out 10 months. See what you've done. Imagine you put in 4 years. 20 years, 30 years, we will change this whole narrative. This Nigeria that we know today, we will not be telling a certain generation that Nigeria was once like this.
No,
and
Aisha, the narrative has changed.
Yeah.
The narrative has already changed. The fact of the matter is that until 25th of February, the illusion was that there were some owners of Nigeria outside of the people they had victimized in Nigeria. The victims of Nigeria spoke collectively on the 25th of February to let it be known to those who thought they own Nigeria that the people own Nigeria. What they are doing right now is a counter coup. They are trying to reassert their powers. Let me show you something, Aisha. On the 25th, that Saturday, 25th of February, there is a market in Maiduguri called the Monday Market. Zulum and your vice president-elect, they lost so badly that they burnt that market in Maiduguri on Saturday, 25th. It was burning until Monday before fire brigade was allowed to put out the fire. That was how pained they were at their loss within Maiduguri. If somebody had told you that Obi will win in Maiduguri, would you have believed it?
Exactly. There's even another one, Daily. There's even another one, I think in Bauchi.
In Bauchi South.
A report that
Bauchi South. In Bauchi South, I think they have almost 100 or over 100 polling units. Obi won more votes in 4 polling units than were recorded for him in the whole of Bauchi South. I was in the war room. I saw the figures coming in real time. So when they tell, this is when you see the PDP people quiet, it's not because it's because they don't want to miss whatever will come to them from the crumbs of the APC table, because they are the same family. They won't fight Tinubu. We who genuinely were robbed, we are the ones fighting. They are one family. So if anybody is waiting for Atiku and the PDP to join, no, they won't. They are positioning themselves to be offered something. They are waiting to be offered seats at the table of impunity from where they have always ate. So let's be clear. This one is not a sprint. It's a marathon. But now them go tire. We not go tire.
That is the thing. Thank you so much for ending on that. Not them go tire. So that thing where you defeat, stand up, stand straight. This fight where we don't start, we are not giving up. Is not an option. We are on it. Pastor Solomon, let me bring you in. You've been really patient, waiting. And after Pastor Solomon, we have one man, and then Chigozie Ifeanyichukwu. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Pastor Solomon, and kindly also put on your video, so it helps to exactly.
Good evening, Aisha. Good to see you.
Good evening. Well done.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to my convener, Mr. Edet. He's the one that sent me the link so that I could join this. Thank you, the co-host. I didn't get your name, Shigon. I hope Aisha understands that. But the prof sure understands. Now, I'm going to try to be brief. Now, here we are dealing with a hydra-headed, moisturous situation. Now, this gang of politicians will do anything to achieve their evil plots. So let's try to pressure them, irrespective of what it might take. Pressure them to view, to live stream this tribunal. It is not impossible. Like Aisha rightly said, They want us to be afraid. They want us to cower in, and then they do what they want to do. But let's show them that we will not do that. That is on one side. Then secondly, I had sent a message to Sheung Okinbalogun and then Rufai of Arise Television, requesting if they could have a discussion that will be titled Judiciary on Trial, because that is what we have in Nigeria right now. That's what we are facing right now. Like Prof said, nobody believes in the judiciary, and it's very simple. There's no questioning that. But if Aisha will be able to drive this, you have a lot of opportunity to be able to drive this. What are we going to be looking at? Looking at cases of judicial miscarriages, the judicial irresponsibilities. Why would the current Senate president, why will they have the opportunity to still come back when he did not stand for that election? He went for presidency, but now he is coming back as a senator elect. Things like these that have happened in the past, we can have them showcased, discussed, and we insist it should not happen again. I think this will help put some pressure in some people and in some quarters. Like Prof rightly said, there's no point attacking the judicial officers. It will be worthless. It will be worthless, and anybody could get into trouble like that. But let's strategically do some things. Pressure them to live stream, and if Aisha will be able to do something with this judiciary on trial thing on air, even if it's no more than 5-10 episodes, let's try that. That's my submission. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for that. I think you didn't ask any questions, so I'll bring on one man. What's the full name? One man went to Mao. Yeah, kindly unmute yourself also, and can you put on your camera, please?
Good to meet you. Do I have the option not to have my camera on? I'm in a relaxed environment, but if you insist,
okay, go ahead.
Oh, all right. I can have the camera on, but you have to excuse the backdrop. There it is.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. So good to meet you, Aisha, and good to meet you, Dele, as well. So I've been desperately trying to get either of you to come and interact with my audience, but maybe after this interaction, that will never happen. But there it is. So good to meet you both.
Can I understand? So I don't understand. So you say after this interaction, that will never happen. Why?
I said that may never happen because I hold a contrary view to what you say.
Your view is okay. Nobody care. Everyone's view is welcome. So don't feel disadvantaged and don't feel anything. Go ahead.
All right. So as I said, I do hold a contrary view to what you and Dele have been speaking about. And I'm not speaking especially to this conversation. I'm speaking to your conversations over the expanse of this political cycle. So I'm not quite sure where you're coming from to claim that Peter Obi's mandate was stolen. There is nothing to indicate that there's nothing to suggest that, nothing at all to suggest that. So you're talking about mutilated figures on the IREV, etc. We hear a lot of this. And by the way, the law does facilitate for amendments to be made to that form, EC, whatever. The law facilitates for that. So when you might see a correction, it's not necessarily a mutilation. So let's just establish that. But then, of course, they were rigging. You see, anybody outside of somebody like Sowore or Prince Adewale, I don't think anybody outside of those two figures have any reason to feel aggrieved. Because everybody else outside of those two persons, they are pretty much one and the same. There is nothing that recommends or commends Peter Obi. We know his antecedents. His record in Anambra is a matter of public record. There's no marquee achievement to speak of. 8 years, 500 billion naira, no marquee achievement, no landmark, anything. There's nothing to suggest that. And there is more to it. There's nothing to suggest that Peter Obi, who doesn't have the name recognition nationwide, would then sweep the entirety of Nigeria. Because you have to understand that Nigeria is not just, or you are laughing, where I come from, or Anambra, where Peter Obi comes from, or Benin. We're talking about Benin, Kebbi, we're talking about Sokoto, we're talking about Maiduguri. And when you're talking about this youth, there's no universality in youth in Nigeria. I hope you all understand that. A 25-year-old in the South is still doing his master's, collecting pocket money from his father. A 25-year-old in the North is a full-grown man, father of 4, wife to 2. So there is no universality in that language, and there is no sense that Peter Obi outreached himself in this election. Actually, he is the winner of the election, but not the winner of the mandate. The reason why I'm saying that is he exceeded more than anybody's expectation in this cycle, and I especially have been impressed. And what Peter Obi has galvanized is an awakening of a certain sort of a dormant mindset within the Nigerian space, which we can energize for the future. So that's the one good thing to come out of this. But to stretch to the reach that Peter Obi won an election, I mean, and it's almost, I don't want to use the word irresponsible, but the language and tonality of it is something that I think maybe we should be somewhat guarded in how we deliver. I'm not sure if there's a question embedded in that in there somewhere, and it's not especially to this conversation that you're having at this moment, but it is what you, especially you, Aisha, and Dele, and subsequently your space, continues to regurgitate, to energize, and not even to energize, but to charge up the space. I'm not sure if there's not an undercurrent of irresponsibility to what we hear sometimes. There's nothing to. Who voted for Peter Obi in Sokoto? Who voted for Peter Obi in Borno? Who voted for Peter Obi? You're laughing. Who voted for him anywhere? You know, and then suddenly he's won a mandate. How did that happen? What's the permutation? You derisively cast aside that people are saying, what's his pathway? What is his pathway to victory? What's the pathway? You know, all of these things, and then you just you chant to a populism. And by the way, the impressionable people that are, anyway, that's just, so I don't want to get carried away because my first time on your space, but I know you can.
Go ahead.
You can chuckle all you like daily, but these are serious matters. I hope you.
One man went to hello. One man. I gave you the space to do what you want to do, to vent and let it out. So on yourself. No, bros, leave. So be okay with it and finish or just round up because we have other people who are.
No.
Whether he chuckles, he doesn't chuckle. He was off. He was even muted. That's none of your business. Your business should be put out your message, which I've given you the room to just put it out. So go ahead. Are you done?
No. That's especially the space. Is the matter is in court and it to be adjudicated, and then the country will move on. The inauguration will take place. Tinubu will be sworn in. If the court overturns it, and then because we saw it with Hope Uzodinma, so there's all manners of magic tricks that are possible within the Nigerian judiciary space. So if the court then deems that the leap then from the winner to the third, then we carry on. But just this agitating the polity with this high octane language, rallying up people who might not be as sophisticated as you in the language that you're speaking to them, I think we should somewhat be guarded in that space. So I'm not sure if I've embedded the question or not, but that is really what I wanted to add to the conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think I've actually listened to you. I've given you the room to pour out what you wanted to pour out, which is good. On this place, we welcome all opinion. And I think because the last part, I honestly would have moved on to Chigozie to give us his this, since there was no question. But I think the last part was for you, directed at me. If you think that I'm speaking to people, I mean, you have spoken right now, speak to people also. I'm saying what the truth is. And if you believe that's not it, you have a room. Speak to people. So if I talk to them and tell them that indeed elections were won, and I'm so glad that you even yourself were going to say, oh, you didn't expect the numbers that you saw out there. just kindly speak to people. There's no this thing. If you're coming here thinking that, oh, the next time we're not going to have a conversation with you, why not? I mean, come up here on this space. We have conversation with everyone. Your opinion is out there. You can state that and let it be known. But one of the things that I now saying, I categorically, and a lot of Nigerians do know, the 2023 election was won by Mr. Peter Obi. And the fact of mutilation, where you talk that correction, where numbers are being changed, that's not correction. That's outright, that's not correction. That's stealing mandate, and that's also a political coup. In as much as we want to accept certain things and say that, oh, it's okay, when you see a number that is 102 being changed to 21, that's outright stealing, and we should have the guts to be able to say the truth, even if we are beneficiary of the lies. And so it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. I think I will move on to Chigozie. If I do you want to say something?
No, I did actually, but if you
no, not you. No, you already had your time. It's not you. I'm talking to Dele. We are moving to the next speaker. Thank you. But I just feel I will go to Chigozie. This is, I feel he wasn't asking a question. He wanted his opinion to be heard, and we've heard it. You're muted, bros.
Hello, Aisha.
Yeah.
You see, I'm sure it's not the first time you are seeing his like.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it's normal that you would have the ones who would either truly believe in the lies that they are spewing, or they have been fed those lies along with some naira or dollars. Some genuinely believe the lies. Some are motivated to tell the lies. But when a man comes and his first word is, I know you won't let me come back, that is self-indictment. Is either he knows he's going to say something he's not meant to say, or he knows that what he's going to say is merely what? Maybe a bundle of lies? But whatever it is, when a man tells you there was no rigging on 25th, when he told you that, look, I beg, you are right, there was nothing to react to. That's the next question.
Honestly, that's why I told you there's nothing.
In all honesty,
Chigozie. So okay, Chigozie, your next, please. Go ahead and kindly unmute yourself. And please put on your camera so that we'll be able to spotlight. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Uncle Dele. Good to have you on the.
Please, so it's my sorry, please, for me. Let me just call me. Which Chigozie is this? Is this my very own Chigozie?
Yes, mommy.
Oh my goodness. So before you go on, Chigozie, thank you. Let me remove my glasses and say to you, thank you. Thank you for standing for Nigeria. Thank you for being on the streets. Thank you for going into all those villages and speaking to people. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for carrying the message to places that many of us have never been to, and we might never dream of being to. We might not have the capacity to be there. Chigozie is the founder of Up North for Peter Obi. And you guys were amazing. You guys were awesome. You guys did a lot. And one of the things we haven't done with this election is that a lot of the votes that came in from the North, that were taken away, we haven't even focused on them as much as we've done on the other votes. So let me just say this today. You inspire me. I am inspired by you and all the work that you and your team put in, by all the Nigerian youth. Thank you. The future of Nigeria rests with people like you who believe and who put in the work and are ready to continue. God bless you. Go on.
God bless you, ma. Thank you very much. I am honored, and it was a privilege to really serve and contribute my quota. So I have a question for Uncle Dele. I think my question now is, I've heard all he said, although I came late, but I heard everything, I think, towards the end, the ending part. So my question is, what can we do right now as obedience? What can we do to salvage the situation? What can we do to get back our mandate? We are going to court from on Monday. Some of us are already mobilizing to go and, stand in the courtroom with our placards and, make the little demands. But what do you think we can do as obedience? We have the number, we have people who are passionate about reclaiming this mandate. What do you think we can do going forward to assist the reclamation of this mandate? Thank you very much.
Chigozie, let me, in the same light as my sister Aisha, say thank you. I say thank you not because you've done me any favors, but because you stood up. You understood the fact that is your battle. You know, when in my generation, we were always waiting for America to come and save us. There was a place once known as Alleg Crescent. We even named it after an American diplomat. We named it Walter Carrington because he helped us to bat the demon crazy that we are lamenting today. But it is the like of you who got up and went into that place they called North and showed the world that Nigerians live there. There is no North, just like there is no South. They are Nigerians. And if we found ourselves, we're actually more than them. That was what you did by your own movement. Now, let me let you know that I've already answered your question in saying what I just said to you. What you need to do is what we've been doing all along. Unify yourselves around issues. Find the common interests. Do you understand? When you were mobilizing the people and talking to them, you had a message for them. That message is not only located in time, it's eternal. You're preaching hope to them. It was the hope that was rekindled in Nigerians that battered the obedient movement. That is the hope you must keep alive, even in this season. Yes, go to court by all means. It should serve to remind the justices that this was what produced the mandates that they are being asked to preserve. There's nothing wrong with that. But the court is another stage. You are not there before, but I've explained it. Getting the people to register to vote was one stage. I'm sure you were involved in that stage as well. There was no Peter Obi at that time. Getting the people who had registered to vote to go and collect their PVC was another stage. There was no Peter Obi at that point either. By the time they collected their PVC, there was, I believe by that time, election had come where we knew who and who were voting. But you kept up the ante. That was the 10-month period that my sister Aisha has referred to. If we could build in 10 months, and what we built was based not on person. It wasn't about Peter Obi, because the movement had started emerging before Peter Obi. In actual fact, the seed of that movement was planted in the NSAS movement.
Absolutely.
Peter Obi is merely a beneficiary of what had been built, and he had become our arrowhead. So the same momentum, which is based on identifying the commonalities of our pains, must be maintained. So as we proceed, as we are going forward, keep up that momentum. Hold on to your hope. Hold on to your belief, and don't let anybody suggest to you that it is impossible. It is not impossible. Yoruba people have a proverb. I'll use it to round up my answer to you. They say, "Enite gunle koku iroju, bó ṣe ń rẹ ara ayé, bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ń rẹ èrò ọ̀run." Those pursued by the ancestral mask, that masquerade, should persevere, because as the man in the mask tires, at least as you who is being pursued is tiring, so does the man who is wearing the mask. The APC, the conglomeration of evil arrowheaded by Bola Tinubu, they are more tired than me and you. We are the ones with truth on our side. They have to depend on a mixture of brute force, outright bribery, murder in some cases, to enforce their will. All we need is to stand behind the truth. It is both a weapon and a shield. So please, do not despair. Keep mobilizing the people and keep giving them hope. Tomorrow is better than today.
Indeed, tomorrow will be better.
It is.
Than today. It's better than today, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chigozie, and every Nigerian youth out there that is listening. For me, like I've always said, I'm in awe of you guys. You guys have been amazing. You've done so well, and don't allow anybody make you doubt yourself or gaslight you. What happened in 2023 was not about Peter Obi. A lot of you were obedient even before Peter Obi became obedient. A lot of you were determined to focus on the electoral process of our country and the political space, and you took it from protest ground to the polling units and the placards. The placards were the PVCs. You got a lot of people to register for the election. You got a lot of people to participate in the electoral process. You were out there. You were creative. You were intelligent. You used social media. You used technology to your own advantage, and that's such an amazing thing. My generation were not able to fight as much as we could. We did fight our fight in our own way, but now you have more tools to your own arsenal that you can use in terms of technology, in terms of social media, in terms of mobilizing, being able to from all over the world come together and actually work. Our time, you have to travel to be at the place that you want to be at. But see what you've been able to do. You've done so well. And so do not allow to the voices of people whose minds have been taken over, who have been subjugated, who are under mental captivity, because we have a lot of mental abductees who would rather say, oh, let's go with this one. Since they saw him in, let's just continue to go rather than stand their ground and fight their ground. And I'm so happy anytime that I'll speak with the Nigerian youth. I'm really so happy about what you guys are doing. Keep doing it. Keep going on. Yes, they will tell you that, oh, there's not, and when you say Nigerian youth, it's not one homogeneous group. Yes, it isn't, but it's citizens who are saying, enough of the religiosity that has divided them, enough of the tribalism that have divided them. Let's come together and look for a common goal. When we talk about youth, when we talk about cities, it's not that, oh, you believe all in the same thing or you want the same thing, but you are able to focus on one particular goal. That was what happened with the obedient movement. Everybody, we all had our differences, we all had our way of coming, but we're able to say, what is it that we want? What is that common goal that we have? And people focused on it and they went with it and they carried on. So those are the issues. As we go on, make it issue based. They will try. Are you speaking, bros? You're muted. Okay. As we go on, don't forget what the issues are. They will bring a lot of things and begin to tell you that, oh, this, that. No, we know what the issues are. First of all, one of the things that we've been repeating over the years is that no region is a precedent maker. And no one region can make anybody president. And we've seen it this time. All of those votes that are normally being brought in, millions of votes from states to bring in millions of the, where were they? We didn't see that from Kano. We didn't see that from Port Harcourt. So all of those things were illusion of criminality, the structures of criminality that were used but this what you did now, you dismantle them. And so what are the issues that we have on ground? The issues on ground for now, they are simple. It's on the 25%, Abuja FCT 25%, which is a question that is coming up from YouTube, and I will get Adele to answer that. There is the issue of forfeiture of money by Mr. Bola Tinubu. There's no how, if the law says that as a criminal, someone who is either convicted or who has forfeited to pay certain fine, you cannot come and occupy office, public office in Nigeria. You can't come around for office. Those are the issues. The third issue also is the vice presidential candidate had double nomination Why did he have a double nomination? You can't be holding two things. You can't be someone who is running for Senate and at the same time you are also the vice presidential candidate. Even if you did it for 1 hour, it's an offense and it's there. So these are the issues that are on ground, and these are the issues that also have been followed. And then you have the issue of the legal votes. Who is the person that have the highest number of legal votes? You cannot go and be cancelling other people's result, and turning them into your own and adding figures to your own and say that you own that. So these are the issues. So focus on those issues, focus on that, and also let the judiciary look. Citizens are invested. Every person whose result was changed, it's even though you can't, the law says you can't take this petition, you can't be the one, but you're also on trial. It's your case that is there, and everyone is invested on that. We have EA. Can you please unmute yourself, please? EA.
Yeah, good evening, Aisha and Uncle.
Are you able to your video, please?
Yeah, I can really. Let me just.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Put it higher, so that helps.
Good evening, Uncle Farotimi, and this is my first time of really getting involved in this. Really, I just want to commend the obedience, because I live in UK and I left Nigeria 2005. I was in the politics really, but actually, maybe I should give you a little bit of my background really. I was a PA to my uncle, who was a honorable member for Mushi Constituency 2. That is Honorable Fade. And what happened within the assembly gave me a kind of it really discouraged me, because I joined the politics at the early age of my life, at the early 20s. But what happened just discouraged me that in the next 10 years, I don't see anything coming up in the in kind of what we call the benefit of the democracy for the youth. I just decided, okay, I need to relocate to UK, which I did, and I thank God. But what Obedient did in the last election really gave me courage. And the courage is that they did what people didn't even actually believe that is going to happen. And thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Uncle Dele, because I just want you to continue to actually encourage those youth that they should keep the momentum and the hope, their hope alive, because I can see them with what they did within 10 months that they can change it. It's just unfortunate that I can't come home now because of the fact that my children are very young. But one of the things I want us to understand is that there's some people within the political environment that they don't actually want this change. And Uncle Dele did say something that they intentionally that they don't want those people to see that light, because they intentionally keep them in that darkness. And that's what they want, because they know that if you're under darkness, you won't be able to see anything. But if there's a light, you'll be able to see, but they don't want them to see that light. But one of the things really happened that actually gave me that courage again is that what happened in that last election gave me hope, because I wasn't really, if there, I don't want, I personally doesn't believe that Obi did not win that election. No, because of the fact of the kind of achievement that he actually achieved with that period. And you did say something, and Uncle did say something that momentum came as what happened to NSAS. And you can see the youth, they are fed up, they are tired, they need a change. And you can see it in them, you can see the hunger. I just want them to keep that hunger, to keep it there. They should not allow anybody to frustrate them, because I believe that one day is going to be their turn, because Nigeria belongs to them. It's their country. Nobody can take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, EA. I think since there wasn't a question for me, I'll move on to Udeze Chima. From Udeze Chima, I will go on to Kelvin. So when we take those, we'll come back to Mr. Dele Farotimi for him to answer questions that they might pose. So Udeze Chima, go ahead, please, and unmute yourself. And kindly put on your camera so that I can spotlight. Udeze, you are in a noisy place. Please, if you can probably move to a place that it's less noisy, that will help us. Can you hear me now? Kelvin, go ahead and unmute yourself while Udeze gets his this is sorted out.
Hello, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kelvin Ken. Currently, I'm joining from the UK. I'm studying here. I've been following up with everything that's been going on regards the politics in Nigeria, and especially the obedient movement, which I have been in support of. And I've been following happenings up until now. I'm glad there was a clarification that you made, which I wanted to ask, which was because I watched a video once when one guy came up to say he's an obedient and that he's not happy with the court case because all that he can see from it is they're talking about Bola Tinubu's drug case. They're hammering on, oh, he did not win 25% instead of trying to prove that, okay, he actually won. That it's not just to say, oh, I won the election, I'm going to prove it. That there's nothing in the petition to show that that's what he's fighting for. But I'm glad you mentioned also there is the issue of who won the highest number of votes, which is also in court. And I read a tweet this morning. Someone was asking what's happening with the obedient movement because it seemed like the momentum is going down. And listen to what our big uncle has said, that movement is still very much alive. Now, the area I want to ask concerning is the area of the Labour Party itself, looking at what is happening, because we know a house divided against itself cannot stand. And being that the person at the head of this movement, which is Mr. Peter Obi, His Excellency, is a member of the Labour Party. And I know that not all obedients are members of the Labour Party. Now, considering what is on ground in the Labour Party, what can the obedient movement do to ensure that the House is together and to ensure that what we are fighting for, what we are pursuing, which is the reclaiming of the mandate, can actually be pursued to a logical conclusion? Because with the infighting and everything, how would that affect the obedient movement? That's my question. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Kelvin. We'll soon be rounding up. Mr. Dele Farotimi needs to go off to another appointment that he has, if I may put it that way. So
not the appointment. My old age, they worry me. Old man,
okay, your PH wrote this.
2 hours.
Oh, okay. No, 2 hours is good. We've been here for almost 2 hours, even though there were a bit of technical issues you coming in. So what we do, we'll take Udeze. Udeze, I think, is in a better place now to be able to speak. Then we'll answer all of these questions combined together, and we'll round up for today. It's been quite an interesting conversation. We almost admit to that. So, Mr. Udeze, kindly go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, Madam Aisha. Good evening, good evening, Uncle Dele. I'm sorry, I'm in the airport and it's so noisy, but I need to contribute to this wonderful program. First of all, I must thank you, Madam Aisha, for your hard work. You are one in a million. God bless you.
Thank you.
You have the heart of humanity. Same goes to Uncle Dele too.
Thank you.
Keep doing the good work people are doing. You people are great human beings. Now, my question is this. I have two things to add. Sometimes, when people come to your program like this, and instead of them to go directly and hit the point, they decide to attack you guys. Maybe they are coming from some quarters. You don't always need to give them that space always trying to preach peace, okay? I would expected you guys to ask that man that was ranting here before now, because I observed that he lives in diaspora. If that is how election is being conducted where he's living at right now, that is the question I wanted you people to ask him. Unfortunately, I know that he's listening to me. He should use his conscience. The society we are abusing today has a way of getting to us tomorrow. Karma is real. Now, my question is this. Considering the high rate of miscarriages of justices that has been done in Nigeria all these years, all this time, honestly, I must tell you that though I'm keeping my faith and hope alive, my hope is just, let me say, 10 over 100, because I don't believe Nigerian judicial system, considering their how they do their things. Now, if at the long run, the tribunal decide to throw away our, let's say, Peter Obi's pleas, what's the option? Even at the Supreme Court, if the option is exhausted up to the Supreme Court, is there any other option? Maybe going outside the country or going to the ECOWAS court or something of that nature? This is exactly my question. God bless you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll hand over to Mr. Dele Farotimi to answer that. Thank you so much for your friendship.
Well, Pat asked a question that I'm sure has been dogging the mind of a lot of obedience, and that is the one surrounding the Labour Party. I remember during the electioneering period when I got asked questions related to the Labour Party, and I went out of my way to explain very clearly that there are a lot of us within the obedient movement who are not members of the Labour Party. But this question has kept coming back for one key reason. The Labour Party has proven to be the weakest link in the chain. But this was also not, it was envisaged to a very large extent, because if you look at the petition itself, you'll find that Mr. Peter Obi is a party in his own right immediately after the Labour Party. And what you are seeing in the Labour Party today is merely a reflection of what you are seeing practically everywhere that Tinubu can reach. People will be bought, consciences will be lost, human beings will recant, and people will be doing the kind of things you are seeing that old man call a papa or a pampa or whatever his name is. You see them doing all kinds of things, Arabambis of this world. These are things that are beyond the control of either Mr. Peter Gregory Obi himself or we as members of the obedient movement. So we can only control what is within our own jurisdiction. And what is in our own jurisdiction? Our individual actions. So whatever the Labour Party has fractionalized or broken up by different greeds and interests, I don't know what is going on there. Like I said, I've been out of town and I have not been on social media or read Nigerian news for a while. I don't know what they are doing today, but what I do know is this. The obedient movement is not about the Labour Party. The Labour Party is a platform. The obedient movement is about ideas. So you can take away the platform, but the idea remains. It's not even about the person of Mr. Peter Obi himself. It's about the ideas that brought together the movement and the people. Mr. Obi is the arrowhead. As long as the idea endures, and that is the idea of a better Nigeria, an equitable Nigeria, one in which I am a citizen, because we keep using the word citizen, conveniently forgetting the fact that in a place ungoverned by law, you cannot have citizenship. So the problem of the Nigerian is that he is not a citizen. So the totality of the quest of the obedient is a quest for citizenship, a quest for justice, a quest for equalization That is what obedience is about. So the Labour Party can do one for all I care. I was never a member of the Labour Party. I hope they'll get their acts together for the sake of this season. But other than that, it doesn't worry me. Mr. Peter Obi himself as the arrowhead, I would have been worried if it was as wavy as the Labour Party and its structures would appear to be from time to time. But Mr. Peter Obi has been, you know what they say, you know the meaning of Chimamanda in Igbo language, my chi is strong. My chi is undefeated. We have good products. We have a good general in front. He's undefeated. I'm happy with that. Labour Party can do one. Now, to deal with the question of what happens if the tribunal behaves true to type. Frankly speaking, I don't think we should care one bit what the tribunal does or does not do. We should be more interested in making sure that we have done everything that could be expected of us to establish the facts. The truths are not unknown to Nigerians. Those who voted in far-flung parts of Nigeria, whom that man in America is trying to tell how to vote and who won and where there was rigging and where there wasn't rigging, where he was busy splitting here about the 25-year-old in Maiduguri and the 25-year-old in Lagos. For us, really, at the end of the day, is about let the tribunal hear the truth and then tell the world that those truths do not matter. But it must find some technicality upon which to base the normalization of the evil that is known as Tinubu. That's entirely in the hand of the tribunal. What follows? What follows is pretty easy. And that is our insistence on the truth being established. Is that they do not want the truth does not mean that we will stop telling them the truth. It doesn't make any difference to our own capacities to tell the truth. What happens will be determined on the day after. But the one thing that will not happen is that we will find some way to normalize the evil that they're about to foist on us. Now, we will not normalize that. What happens when the tribunal does these things will be determined by the collective, not by Dele Farotimi, not even by my sister Aisha. The same way we determine not to go to the street after the heist of 25th, the same way we determine not to go to the street after the madness of Lagos and other places on the 18th of March, 18th of March, the same way we didn't go to the street. Maybe we'll decide to go to the street this time around. I don't know. Or maybe we'll decide, let's go to the Supreme Court first and let those ones decide whether they want to dance naked or not. That's entirely up to the people as a movement, not Dele Farotimi. But what I do know is this. Bola Tinubu did not win an election. I am not going to normalize the evil that they are looking to foist. And I don't think anyone in Nigeria should also normalize that. If he had won, we would have found the grace to congratulate him. But anyone who still has a conscience knows what transpired on the 25th. There is no way you can possibly swear in. Maybe we leave this story. You can't swear in that man on the 25th or on whenever. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. Let the tribunal say his own piece. It does not change the truth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Farotimi. It's actually been an amazing pleasure having you here today. Unfortunately, we will not be able to take any more questions, like I did say the last time, and you heard him, he needs to go off. We pulled him, he hasn't spoken in over a month, and we got him to come here, and it's been an honor having him here. Before we round up, is just quickly talk about some of the things that were mentioned. On the issue, I think it was Kelvin that raised the issue of the person who came in, one man who spoke. One of the things that you must never do is give room to detractors to actually derail your conversation. The reason why, for me, I was like, there was nothing to talk about there. He has said is we will always offer people the opportunity to come and air their views. And sometimes you find them that even when they themselves are guilty or having some source of inferiority complex, so like it's a place where you can air your views. You did hear him where he said, oh, he might not be allowed here again after the conference. Oh, he will be welcome, and as much as possible, let them come in here and do that. But the thing is that we will not allow anyone the way the conversation we had in here today was to talk about May 29, was to talk about is it state capture, what is going to happen, and the election, and we did focus on that. So that's one thing that must go on. To also finally also say to every one of us, the obedient movement is not about any one person. And in any movement, if everybody is not inconsequential, then we have a movement. And I'm glad where we have today, where everyone is a leader in their own places. And it is collectively, as we work together, that we're able to do the things that we need to do for our country. Do not forget that every one of us, we have a role to play. Like Mr. Dele Farotimi actually said, we are in control of the role we play. We are not in control of the role that other people play. And so do not leave anything to, oh, there are certain people who will do certain things. What is it that you're doing? That must be very important. As we go on, while we're waiting at the mandate, one of the things that must happen is that there must be a deliberate influx of people into the political space. Please, as much as of you that can register, go in and register in these political parties. Labour Party, yes, it is where it is. They are making decisions they are making by the people who are in there. If there are more people who are getting in there, getting registered, more competent people, character, capacity, people who are ready to serve the nation, people who are ready to give their or get in there, you then will be able to make decisions from within inside, and you not have any few people coming out to give us either the candidate that they feel like giving us or making decisions that they want to make. Please, so as much as possible, these are some of the things that we need to start doing. Keep on talking about the issues, focus on the main issues, register into parties. Let us identify people that we want to send to the legislative arm of government. The legislative arm of government, we said it consistently, is the bedrock of democracy. They have, they make laws, they have oversight functions, they are able to hold executive accountable, they ratify treaties, and even they confirm people who are being appointed. So we need to get more people in there. Can we begin to look at our different senatorial zones? Where who are the people that can run for Senate from those places? Who are the people we want to send to the House of Representatives, state houses of assembly, so that little by little by little we'll begin to have more competent people in there, and we'll begin to have people that will make laws for Nigeria. I will be there, even their oversight function, they will be doing it not from a selfish point of view, but from a Nigerian point of view. These are the things that we all we start to do. Remember what Mr. Dele Farotimi said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and this thing might take decades. There are people who have had Nigerian ransom for over 6 decades. We need to also put in the work. We've seen what we've done in 10 months. Imagine if that is replicated in the next 4 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 5 decades. Where will Nigeria be at that place? Nigeria definitely will not be at the gloomy place that it is right now. So this is where the energy must come in. As we go on, let us celebrate the little wins we've had already. Let us not allow ourselves to feel the press, to be gloomy. Look at those things and say, yes, we'll continue to do that. We continue to focus on the judiciary right now. If the Court of Appeal doesn't do whatever happens, we go over to the Supreme Court, and we continue to focus on that and continue to put Nigeria first. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today, and most especially thank you to Bros, Mr. Dele Farotimi. Bros, thank you so much for being out here today and taking the time.
An absolute pleasure.
Thank you. We've had over almost 2,000 people on YouTube that have really participated, and they are all sending in their greetings. And please remember, Live with Aisha comes up every Saturday at 6 p.m. Nigeria time. Hopefully next week we'll see you all. We'll be bringing in another guest by the special grace of God. Thank you so much, everyone, and bye-bye. See you again next week, Saturday, 6 p.m. Nigeria time, by the grace of God. Thank you.
Guys, like I keep saying every day, that Nigeria is a drama scene. Nigeria is a drama scene. Things that have never happened in other countries keep happening in Nigeria, especially, within our political space. There are terrible things happening. And these people, once they grab power, they are not willing to let power go. They are not willing to let loose. They are not ready to go. They will keep, recycling themselves from governor. They want to go to Senate. From Senate, they want to go to House of Assembly. They want to go there. They will just remain there. The next thing, they become a minister. So, guys, that is where we found ourselves in Nigeria. And until the youth stand up, until the youth decide to rescue Nigeria, until the youth know that Nigeria belongs to them, until the youth stand unshakable, until the youth unite themselves. Look at some of our youths. They are supporting APC, they are supporting PDP. Tell me what is driving them to support people in these parties that have destroyed Nigeria. What are they doing in the APC? What are they doing in the PDP? Why are they not coming over to join the obedient movement? It's not even about Peter Obi. We just want a Nigeria that works for an ordinary man. We want a Nigeria that works for everybody. We want a Nigeria that the youths will be happy that they've got a country. That is what we are looking for. That is what we want. We are not even asking for too much. So, guys, you can see that these are politicians. We need to teach them lessons. Let's keep using our ballot boxes and our PVCs to show them pepper. Anytime there is an election, let's ensure we come out en masse to tell them that the people decide, not them that will decide for the people. So, guys, you've heard it for yourself. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.